The lock clicked. She stepped inside, weary from the road. The air hung heavy, thick with an unfamiliar tension. Laughter, hushed voices drifted from the living room. Her living room. Her chest tightened, a prickle of unease crawling up her spine. Her hand trembled as she set her bag down. Something was wrong. She could feel it in the marrow of her bones. Taking a deep breath, she rounded the corner, bracing herself for whatever awaited her. The sight that greeted her stole the air from her lungs. 3 men, 3 strangers. They occupied her space with an ease that bordered on obscene. One sat on her couch, legs stretched out, a smirk playing on his lips. He was all sharp angles and hard lines, his eyes glinting with something predatory. The second leaned against the mantelpiece, arms crossed, an air of quiet amusement radiating from him. His features were softer, but his gaze held a calculating glint, a hint of something dangerous lurking beneath the surface. The third, the youngest of the 3, stood by the window, his back to her. He seemed ill at ease, his shoulders hunched, his head bowed. "Darling, you're back." The man on the couch rose, his voice a caress, his eyes never leaving her face. "Let me introduce you." He gestured to the man by the fireplace. "This is Mark, my brother." Mark inclined his head, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. "And this," he continued, his gaze shifting to the young man by the window, "is Daniel, our son." The words struck her like a physical blow. Son? Her world tilted on its axis. She knew these men, or rather she knew of them. Ghosts from his past back to haunt her present. The room spun. She swayed, her hand reaching out to steady herself. Daniel, her husband's illegitimate son, the product of a past he had sworn was dead and buried. Whispers, rumors, they came back to her now, fragments of conversations overheard, dismissed as idle gossip. Betrayal. It was a bitter pill to swallow. The man she loved, the man she had built a life with, had harbored secrets, deep and dark. And now they stood before her, flesh and blood, a constant reminder of his deceit. Section 5. The Weight of Betrayal. The air crackled with unspoken accusations, the silence deafening. She searched their faces, her husband Mark, even Daniel looking for answers, for an explanation that would make the pain bearable. But there was nothing. Only the echo of shattered trust reverberating in her ears. How could he do this to her? To them? Their life together, their love? It all felt like a lie, a cruel joke at her expense. Section 6. Conundrums of the Heart. Days turned into weeks. The initial shock gave way to a dull ache, a constant reminder of the betrayal. She couldn't bring herself to look at Daniel, couldn't bear to see the reflection of his father in his eyes. Her husband, her once rock, now seemed like a stranger. The life she thought they had built, the future she envisioned, it had all crumbled around her. She felt lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, the familiar shores of her life receding with every passing moment. Section 7. The Revelation. One evening she stumbled upon a box tucked away in the attic. Inside, letters, photographs, mementos from a life she never knew existed. And then, she saw it. A letter, dated just weeks before their wedding. Her heart pounded as she read the words, penned in her husband's familiar hand. It was a confession, not of an affair, but of a terminal illness. He had been given months to live, told to get his affairs in order. Section 8. Shifting Perspectives. The world shifted again. The betrayal, the pain, it all paled in comparison to this. He hadn't betrayed her. He had been protecting her. He had brought his brother and son into their lives, not to hurt her, but to ensure she wouldn't be alone when he was gone. He had chosen to carry the burden of his secret, to shield her from the pain. And she, blinded by her own hurt, had failed to see his sacrifice. Section 9. A New Reality. She found him in the garden, his face drawn, his eyes reflecting a deep-seated weariness. He looked up as she approached, a flicker of apprehension crossing his features. She said nothing, simply knelt beside him and took his hand in hers. In that single touch, a lifetime of unspoken words passed between them. Forgiveness, love, regret, and a profound sense of gratitude for the precious time they had left together.